Hello everyone, it's your sister Roland, and all I need is a few minutes to talk about me finally getting through and watching this whole documentary. That was not easy at all, because the difference between the way LJ, if you want to watch that documentary, difference between him and other people that cover these stories, people cover them in bits, this story here, this story there. But LJ, on the other hand, went and covered all of these young men, some young women that lost their lives. Granted, some of them, not all of them were taken out by murder, but the majority of them was. And then he goes and see some of these young men lost their lives within weeks of each other, within months, within days. Sometimes one group, take out that group, and then they celebrate. Yeah. We took out your homie, and then the next week, that group who's celebrating mad because the another group or the same group that they attack took out one of their homies. So it's always a tick for that, and it was so overwhelming for me. I had to watch that thing in bits and pieces because that was so much. I'm used to watching these type of videos, but the way that LJ did it, it was like, wow, look how these young men lost their lives for absolutely nothing when you think about it. I mean, for nothing. Sometimes, because if you dissing somebody, to me, it looks like all you can say is F Mumbu Crump, F Ella Capone, F Melly. That's dissing the person. That can get you taken out. And sometimes the person who did it is not the one that gets taken out. It's somebody who's associated with him. That's another thing. That's just And then I'm like, if you saying F this person in the song, F this person on a live, that's going to get you taken out. Why do you say it? That's what I just don't understand. Well, I kind of understand it, but at first I was like, why do it? That's going to get you taken out, or it's going to get one of your friends taken out, but they still do it. And then even making song, and then there are songs, rap songs that they they make good beats. Some of them are no good, but some of them are good beats. The way they put the rhymes together, I'd be like, wow, that's very good. But all it is dissing another crew. So these young men did all of this, dissing another group, another set, whatever, in a rap song, and didn't even make $1 off of this. And there are people using their style, using their lyrics, using their beats, and making a ton of money, while their families are left behind, some of them still in poverty, and other people making money off of them, and then they are 6 feet under or in jail. Ain't make $1. That's the stuff I just don't understand. So in LJ's video, he has a part where he says there's over 100 deceased, and most of the time is truly over 100 deceased after all this is said and done. And then you have over 30 over something that's incarcerated because of all this dissing and going back and forth. It's ridiculous. And this young man did a phenomenal job. Many people was complaining, he didn't pronounce certain stuff right. I guess you have to have eloquence of speech to be doing certain stuff. There are people that do videos about these things they are eloquent in their speech. You guys can go to them. But this young man did a very, very, very good job. And it shows you the reality of this gun violence in Chicago. And I think he has another one for Chicago, and then he has one for the Jacksonville drill thing that's going on. But anyway, look at this. This is all the people. There are one or two people that I believe, because it was so much, oh my goodness. But the majority of these people were murdered. Look at it, and then look at the time that they were born. This one 2014, and then he died 2000. He was born in 2000 and was taken out in 2014. That's 14 years old. Look at the ages. This is like, this is another one. Yeah, it's another one right here. All of these people, life short lived. Carton Weekly was FBG Doc. I mean, it's like some of them. Derek Coleman, which is Fredo Bang, you know, he died of a overdose. No, seizure, excuse me, seizure. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then Vaughn, you know how Vaughn was taken out. Rasoon Shaw, that he was taken out by the police. I mean, just talking about these stuff, it just gets you overwhelmed. Look at all these people. Some of these were little kids. Oh my goodness. It was so much, it was too much for me. I don't know how people deal with stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Look how this I mean Trayvon Dickerson looked like he just looked like a little baby to me. It was a lot. And then Taekwon, this is Taekwon Tyler, where they Taekwon World and stuff like that. It was a lot. It was a lot. I think that's it. So one boy says, "You are Mel Williams." He had gotten shot before. I think shot in the head. I think it grazed him. And then he survived, of course. And then I think a month later, to be in this guy lost his life. It was a lot of people in a room. I don't know, it was like a party, a house party or whatever. And the person just started shooting, and then he ended up getting shot in the head, but this time he didn't survive. It's ridiculous. And one of them, I forgot who it was, they caught him on the bus stop the day before. They caught him, and he barely escaped. You wouldn't believe the boy went back to the same bus stop, and then this time they got him. I'm like, why? This stuff is overwhelming for me. I gotta teach a lesson. I remember I was introduced to this 7 stages of grief when I was in the Bahamas. I don't think the education that, well, I don't know if they still do that in the Bahamas, but when we were growing up, the education we got and the education over here is totally different. So we had a class, it's called Family Life. And we learned about families, and we learned about different things that could happen to you in life. So it really prepared you for life, you know, raising kids, you know, getting a job. It prepared you for a lot of things. Losing people like this, the 7 stages of grief. So I remember when we went over this one, I was in 10th grade. In 10th grade, and we learned about this. And this is 7 stages of grief when you lose somebody. I was in a conference, well, like a Zoom meeting recently, a single Zoom meeting. And one of the questions that you had to answer, like this is the work that you had to do, was what have you lost? What or whom have you lost? Because you need to know that. You need to write those down and then see how that has affected you. Because losing somebody and not going through the stages of grief to heal, those stuff affect your attitude, they affect your behavior, they affect your thinking. They affect you because you have never went through the 7 stages of grief, especially when you have lost somebody. So first of all, you have shock. This is initial paralysis at hearing the bad news. And then you go to denial, trying to avoid the inevitable. Like, I can't believe my dog, I can't believe my dog is gone. I was just talking to him 30 minutes ago. You know, like that. And then you have, which could be beginning of anger too. Frustrated on a point of bottled up emotion. So anger. And then you have bargaining. So that's probably when the person, you know, man, it should have been me. Oh, I should have been there. You know, stuff like that. And then you go to depression. The final realization of the inevitable. Wow, I mean, this person is gone. Oh man, I know I should have picked him up. I know I should have picked up that call. I know I should have went with him, and then just fall into depression. Testing, seeking realistic solutions. Well, if a person dead, what can you do? But sometimes, we still haven't gone through the process, so we thinking about what can we do. But sometimes people never even reach the testing, to tell you the truth. And then you have acceptance, finally finding the way forward. So the way forward and how to move on with this person, without this person. But in reality, some of us have never even gotten to acceptance. Actually, we haven't even gotten in testing, because some of us still at shock, some of us still at denial, some of us still at anger, bargaining, and depression. Some of us haven't even reached the testing, and not even to talk about acceptance. And acceptance, that's how you begin to heal. That's how you begin to move on. That's how am I going to carry on this person's legacy? Because this person is no longer here. They're never ever coming back. How can I, who is still alive, can carry on their legacy, can continue their story? But many of these young men in Chicago and Memphis and Jacksonville, a lot of them, one of the young men that lost their life, that young man, because I recently saw, not recently, but 2-3 years ago, he had an interview. That guy is still in shock, because he's still in his mind. He actually said that he still can't believe the young man is gone. So he hasn't even went to denial process. He's still in shock, because he sees himself in the hospital, and it's like the guy is still here. So he hasn't even gone to the other stage. He's still stuck at shock. And when you're still stuck in that position, who are you? You're just existing. You're not even living your life, because you stuck in that place that you heard that bad news. But the ones who have managed to pass shock and denial, and then they are angry, a lot of them are walking around angry because, and some of them is just not only anger, it's guilt too, because they were supposed to be there. They were supposed to come a little early. They wasn't supposed to take so long. So different things. So they're walking around angry. And many of these young men did not grow up with fathers. And some who did, the father didn't even have a father, so he didn't even know what to do, how to show them how to channel that anger that they have into positive coping mechanisms. They have negative coping mechanisms, like they drink and they smoke and then they take people out, but that doesn't take away that pain. And then this is the thing, these young men keep on losing people. So they just lost this person this week. They haven't even finished process. I mean, they haven't even went to the 7 stages of grief, and then boom, a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, they lose another friend, another good friend. Because it's always the good friend that people close to, that they're close to. We may see this person as evil, but there was somebody that somebody loved, somebody cared about. So you haven't even dealt with this loss, and then you have another loss. So it's anger and pain and guilt building up. Who you think they're going to take it against? Yes, it might be because some of them, not all of them, 1 or 2 are, the 12 is responsible for it, but 12 is not easy to get. And then you don't want all that pressure, to take out a 12, and then for the 12 to be on the block giving you problems. So the easiest thing to do is take out somebody that looks like me, somebody that looks like you, somebody that looks like us. That's the easiest thing to do, because I'm mad anyway, and you're the easiest target. So these young men are walking around angry, mad, and in pain. And then this is one of the reasons why I believe they be like, some of the ways these young men die, I'm like, why are you right? That's where your ops live. Why are you riding through there? You know they always surveying the block. They always surveying their location. Why are you riding through there? Some of them ride through there and then they get taken out. I'm saying, is this their way? They cannot take themselves out. They cannot take themselves out. They probably don't believe in it, or they just don't. They cannot do it to themselves. So hey, let me just die by these people taking me out because they don't like me anyway. So that'll be an easier way to get out, so I could get out this pain, so I could get rid of this pain, because they don't know how to go through this pain, to deal with this pain that they're going through, to deal with the anger and the guilt that they're going through. Before I made this video, this young man was interviewing people at a gym, and then he just happened to ask one of the men questions like, why are you here or whatever. And he's like, he came there because he had a broken heart, because he had broke up with his girlfriend, and he just started going to the gym. And then while going to the gym, he lost 40 pounds. He lost 40 pounds. Some things that he did in the gym, he didn't even know that he could do, and he bettered his life. So he channeled that heartbreak and that anger through exercise, which is a positive coping mechanism. But many of these young boys don't know how to do things like that. They don't know. So they walk around angry and frustrated and guilty and in pain, and they don't know what to do. Smoking may take it away for a minute, a few minutes or an hour, but it's going to come back flooding to you. You could drink, you could sleep around, you could go around, you see your ops and you take them out. It gives you maybe a little happiness or whatever for a little while, but that doesn't last. That doesn't last, because now you have taken a life. You have that guilt that's gonna eat you up. And then this is what we are going through in Chicago and all these other places. Not only Chicago, I mean Memphis and Atlanta and Jacksonville, all kind of different places, taking each other out, because all of them are filled with pain, because they have never, ever, ever, ever went through the 7 stages of grief, which is a very big factor. It could be other things, but this is a very big factor, because you're walking around angry. You angry, and you have to take out your anger out of somebody. And who is the best person? Somebody that looks like just like you. And some of these young men used to be friends. Some of these young men used to go to school together, and then they're just taking each other out. People stop under red lights, and then boom, just walk out with, these big old fire, and just walking up to people standing in lines, and they don't care. Because they have nothing to live for. They have nothing to live for. They don't know who they are. They don't know why they're here. Because it's a father that gives a child that identity. They don't know what they're here for. So why? I don't have nothing to live for. And then if they did have something to live for, most of the time it's taken away from them. So why not take out everybody, as much people as I can, until they take me out? So much potential in 6 feet under. So much potential behind bars. And we could say that, oh, we don't care, like this. I call him a clown, because that's what okay, Steven Jackson that went on O'Block the other day. Let me show you this clip.
A lot of y'all niggas be at O'Block pulling up taking pictures. Where we at? Tell them how they coming. We in the middle of it. What you mean, nigga? Y'all pull up and take pictures and y'all not allowed to. And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in.
Checking in. What you say?
I check in with the real one. That's why I'm in the middle of O'Block.
Where you at?
You see the who?
Where you at?
I'm in the middle of O'Block, nigga.
This is how he is using his influence. I believe this happened back in May or June or whatever it was. You going to O'Block, it's showing people that you could go to O'Block. This is how is this happening again? This is why you are famous. This is how you're using your influence and fame. Great job, Steven Jackson. Great job. You are a father. You are a husband. And this is what you're doing. And I believe they have like a I don't know if it's an organization or a group of mothers who lost their sons by this way, was taken out. And then I don't know exactly the mission of this group, but I would think so. Not only getting the mothers that lost their child, but what about the mothers that are raising these young boys now? Somebody needs to reach out to them, because most of the time these boys, they, like I said, they want to make it out. They want to help out their grandmother or mother, because most of the time that's who's raising them. And then they see that, hey, when you dissing people, when you saying bad stuff, rapping about stuff, bad stuff, that's what makes you popular, because people like negative things. When they rap about positive things, nobody support it. So they do these things. So they want to help out their family. They want to help out people that is looking out for them. But then this is what causes their death. This is what causes their death. What about those? Who's going to reach out to those mothers that are struggling, and then the kids see they're struggling, and they get into these gangs. They get into this rap game, dissing people, and thinking, and sometimes they think, yeah, this person was taken out, but maybe this won't happen to me. But then it end up happening to them. Who's going to reach out to those mothers? That should be a group also. Mothers that are raising these young boys right now, these young women right now, because it's not only young boys that are in these, boys and young men and young boys, young men. It's also young girls and young women that are also in these gangs, that are also participating in these criminal activities. Because nobody else is gonna come and bring changes. We gonna have to be the change. We have to change. We have to, first of all, we have to look inside ourselves. Look at ourselves before we could even see what changes we can bring about. Sometimes it's us. And people say, that's not my problem. Oh, you rich, you make 100K, you make 250K, 500K, that's not your problem. Very soon it'll soon be a problem, because as we start seeing the news, some of these things start trickling into neighborhoods that it never used to happen. What happened to FBG Jock? He was in Gold Coast. That's a high-end place, and that happened. Well, nobody would ever thought that would happen. So it's not only their problem. That's them. That's Chicago. I don't care. But it's our problem. If you're black, it's your problem too, because it affects you. It affects the way other races see you also. You won't be able to save everybody, but you could start by one young man, one young girl, one family. Even if it's, and first of all, you have to start at home first, because that's what Jesus said in his word. You have to start in Jerusalem, then you go to Judea, then you go to Samaria, and then you go to all the extremities of the world. Start at home first. That's why you have to change the narrative. Change it at home first, and then you're going to be able to see, where can I place my talents, my abilities, my money, my influence, my fame. Don't use it like Stephen Jackson, child. And before I'm done, also, this is last thing I had to say. This is how close these young men live. All these young men live. Look, I got it from LJ. He's the only one that had like a map like this. Look how close all these beefing against each other. Look how close they is. Drill City, TYMB, STLEBT, Taekwondo World, Jaro City, Chris World. 300 Lamo is only one all the way over here. But all of these. And then O'block and STLEBT is right there next to each other. It's not that far. Beefing. That's all I had to say on this situation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.